Hello, and what is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS, and I'm joined by my lovely wife,
WritingRaven.
And we're back for another episode of Psycho-Synopsis.
Indeed.
The segment where we summarize all the Psycho for you. Just a scattering of topics throughout the week, all summarized into a neat little package for you to enjoy and consume at your leisure.
You're welcome.
So, we got a bunch of topics to discuss today, including our main topic.
Indeed. And we shall begin with it. Snow White.
Not white, and the 7 ethnically diverse individuals.
Accurate considering what we see on screen.
Photos from Disney's live-action remake of Snow White showed a diverse cast playing the 7 dwarves, but Disney says the photos are, quote, not official, end quote.
Right.
Now, bear in mind, at first Disney came out and said that these were fake completely.
And then they backtracked and said that while these are set photos, they're with stand-ins.
But keep in mind, that doesn't mean that what we're seeing on screen will not happen. It just means that the people currently wearing the outfits might not actually end up being the dwarves. But they don't think they really have to worry about not being dwarves because they aren't.
Only one is.
Disney, do you just like losing money? Like at this point, I honestly can't think that there's someone behind the wheel who's just like, there's an iceberg ahead. I think I'll hit it.
Someone is definitely doing that.
Now, I do want to point out there is rumors that Bob Iger wants to sell Disney to Apple. Unlikely, but it could be that they're trying to purposely take their brand to lower the price or whatever. I don't know.
That is a very weird business decision if true. I mean, Apple is a technology brand, not necessarily an entertainment brand, though they have branched out into entertainment lately with Apple Plus.
Disney just seems to like losing money, and despite what people will scream and yell about on Twitter, the live-action Little Mermaid, which we actually heard from someone who's close to us, actually went and saw it, and they said it wasn't terrible.
Yeah. Apparently they were able to shut off their brains during the scuttlebutt scene.
They didn't even remember it when we brought it up, but regardless, even if people did go see it and didn't find a problem with it, it did not make back the money that it spent. It did not even come close.
Nope. So I imagine this movie is going to be more or less the same, especially when you have your Snow White actor who, 1, is not white, and 2, is less pretty than the person playing the evil queen who is supposed to be jealous of Snow White's beauty.
That's right. Rachel Ziegler came out and now a deleted tweet that basically said how she's going to be Snow White and she's not going to bleach her skin. Now, before anybody says, racism, it's not racism. The character of Snow White is literally called Snow White because of her snow white skin.
It is literally the most typecast role you will ever have.
But Disney doesn't care about that. It's better to have beige tan and the ethnically diverse individuals
who are not dwarves.
Because we don't want to be offensive. Either make this movie, call it something completely different, and watch the box office numbers fall, or continue on this path, still call it Snow White for some reason. We don't know why it's called Snow White anymore because there's literally no connotation of Snow White, but okay.
And still watch the box numbers fall.
Exactly. I mean, you reap what you sow, Disney, and trying to, backtrack afterwards and be like, okay, well, we didn't really tell the truth before, but now we are. It was a misunderstanding. No, it wasn't. You got roasted online for this because it looks cheap. It looks terrible. And your live-action movies, for the most part, do not make money.
I mean, the only one that was actually good was The Jungle Book, and that's just because it added plot to the story. And I didn't mind the Beauty and the Beast one, because that also filled in some plot holes.
But we don't need this. Stop making movies like this. I know you need the brand recognition, but let's be honest, you're just tanking the brands rather than getting more people to come in because you called it The Little Mermaid or Snow White. Just stop.
If you really want to make live-action movies, make live-action movies of the underrated movies that you have that would be perfect for live-action, like Emperor's New Groove, Treasure Planet, Atlantis the Lost Empire, need I go on?
Now, we know Disney and they would ruin those anyways.
Yeah.
But those would at least be something that would make sense to do a live action of because they didn't do so well in the theaters. But if you were to look back on them now and the feedback you got, you could potentially craft a live-action version that would still be like an homage to the original, but would actually fix some of the problems with the originals. But Disney isn't smart enough to do that anymore.
Of course they're not, because they don't like making money anymore.
Yep. So, as I said, good luck. You're going to need it. Doesn't matter if these aren't the official photos. They are still the same costumes. This thing is going to flop so hard it's not even funny.
And end up in a glass coffin for eternity.
Behave.
We should probably move on now.
Yeah.
Okay. And speaking of Disney, next up we have Deadpool.
This isn't going to end well.
The boys are back in town!
Photos from the set of Deadpool 3 feature Deadpool and Hugh Jackman suited up as Wolverine, but in his yellow costume as seen in the comics.
Finally!
People have been asking about this for a long time.
Years.
Now, people were a little bit annoyed about the sleeves on the costume.
But that's apparently because Hugh Jackman is prone to skin cancer, which I believe is why he quit the Wolverine role in the first place, because he couldn't do it anymore for illness. So if he has been in remission, I would say that this is just a precaution so that he doesn't get sick again. Maybe,
or maybe not. Regardless, it looks like it's going to be some kind of multiverse movie. They have Elektra coming back for it, the Jennifer Garner version.
They also have a destroyed 21st Century Fox logo, which I'm wondering if they're going to do in the intro of the movie, or that and in the movie itself, with Deadpool making some kind of comment about it.
Whatever. Regardless, it looks like a cool movie. Unfortunately, because of the current strike going on, it has been halted.
Mm-hmm.
But if it gives time for Ryan Reynolds to be able to ad-lib lines, that might be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I hear people saying, but it's Disney bad, whatever. Yes, they are. But just because Disney makes some things bad, and just because they do bad things, doesn't mean I can't be excited for something they're producing. Doesn't mean I'm going to go the day it drops into the theaters, but I might watch it on my own some way.
Yeah, especially after we get other viewer reviews.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to go give them money, but I can be excited for, oh, look, looks like it's actually going to care about the source material. Now, whether that turns out to be true or not is besides the point.
True. I also do hope that we get to see Logan in his cowl mask, because that's also something people have been wanting.
I think Deadpool will ask him to do it, and I think he'll do it, but I think he'll take it off pretty quick.
Yeah. Probably say something about how I look ridiculous in this thing. But oh, come on! The fans will love it! Something like that.
Yeah, and just do it one time.
That's all we need, just one time!
Just do it one time. If this is your last outing as Wolverine, which I kind of doubt, but we'll see. But if it is, just do it one time. Come on.
Just for us! Please, 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 please!
Anyway, we'll have to wait and see when this actually comes out. But so far, it's looking pretty cool. We'll have to wait and see whether that holds up in the actual theaters and with the plot.
Indeed. And thus we move on to more Marvel news. Ms. Marvel.
Kamala Khan will return after her death in Amazing Spider-Man number 26. In Ms. Marvel, the New Mutant, where Ms. Marvel will be revived as a mutant and be made a member of the X-Men.
And apparently this is to coincide with the TV show that came out in which they called her a mutant and not an Inhuman. And apparently there are some sources saying that she will be a hybrid of Inhuman and mutant. And I can see what they did there with her new X-Men costume of leaving the lightning bolt on it. Personally, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I actually like her Ms. Marvel costume better.
I don't think that this character is ever going to be the popular character that Marvel wants it to be. They're even now saying they're going to be running Ms. Marvel Season 1 on ABC. And the only reason they're doing that is because, shocking to nobody, Ms. Marvel was the lowest viewed Disney Plus Marvel series. Even worse than She-Hulk.
Surprising.
And it's not because it's a bad show. I want to make that very clear. The people who I've talked to who have seen this has said it wasn't bad. It just wasn't anything special.
Mm-hmm. Of course, there also was that kid who fell multiple heights on energy glass and then onto a car, and they said, "Oh, my ankle!" When in reality, he should be dead, comatose, or seriously maimed with lots of broken bones and internal bleeding.
Now, as you can see, some people were not very happy with this decision. A lot of these are people saying they're going to off themselves over the change from making Ms. Marvel a mutant.
Which is quite beyond extreme.
Now, I get that fans get very passionate, but this is not passion, this is degeneracy.
I think that's an understatement and an insult to the word degeneracy.
I agree. There's more to this, and you can see it on Twitter if you want to see more of the responses that I've compiled, but I took the best ones for here. Again, being passionate is not the problem. The problem is wishing death on others or saying you're going to off yourself in front of them. That's a different story.
Mm-hmm.
It's a comic book character. And I'll tell you something, it's not a popular one. Hate to break it to you, it doesn't matter how many people retweet, post, or like on Twitter or social media things with her in it. It's about the product and whether they're going to buy it or not. The sales for the comic have not been good. That is not something you can dispute. The numbers don't lie. But also, the biggest indication of the fact that she's not that interesting and she's not that well liked is that her show is the lowest viewed.
Mm-hmm. And her comic is the one that gets rebooted the most.
It's not anything against the actress. Iman Vellani is going to be co-writing this book as well. We want to mention that.
And apparently she said that she has never written a comic book before, but has read comics and is excited to be writing this, and basically just called it her own fan fiction.
Again, she seems like a very sweet person, and again, nothing against the actress at all. I want to make that clear.
Mm-hmm.
She seems like she genuinely loves comics, and she genuinely loves the character, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But it's not a character that's well-liked. It's just not. And I'm sorry if you don't like that, people on Twitter, but it is fact. Okay? I'm sorry. The show did not do well for a reason. No one even hate-watched it because no one cared. I'm not saying this might not do something to help her character. I don't know. But I don't see her magically becoming popular now. It's not going to happen.
But yeah, that's the gist of it.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see how this actually goes down. It's, again, all because of brand synergy, as we know. I don't see the Marvels doing very well. You can try to put Ms. Marvel Season 1 on ABC to boost the numbers. It might make it look a little better, but overall, it's still not going to do well.
Nope.
It's okay if a character is not well liked. It means that you need to go back to the drawing board and do something to change it. Not go, well, let's give her more powers or make her this or make her that. How about you look at what's wrong with the character and change it? Oh, wait, that's too much work.
Mm-hmm. Moving on. And still in the realm of Disney, next up we have Star Wars.
Not only am I now a Jedi Master, but you are my apprentice.
Sure, even though Sabine has never exhibited any powers of the Force.
Shh, don't ask questions. Just consume product and get excited for next product.
I'll just take a copy of the Darksaber, thanks.
The first official trailer for the upcoming Ahsoka series on Disney Plus appears to reveal that the Mandalorian Sabine Wren will become a Jedi apprentice to Ahsoka Tano.
Why? Shouldn't it be Ezra Bridger?
We can't have a boy doing that. It needs to be Stronk Whammon.
But he was already an apprentice to Kanan, so why not have him continue his training with Ahsoka, even though she's supposed to be dead?
Also, hate to break it to you, but who trained you that you're now a Jedi Master? Didn't you get kicked out of the Jedi Order?
Yeah, and literally said to Vader, I am no Jedi.
But now you are.
For reasons. And I still can't get over the fact that live-action Ahsoka's handtails are too short. If you really were complaining about them being too heavy, why not make them hollow?
Regardless, as you guys know, my wife and I are not very big interested in Star Wars these days.
Unfortunately.
It's just not. I can't even bring myself to watch parodies because I don't feel like they're even worth it.
And that includes Spaceballs for anyone who is curious.
Yes, and everybody will now be mad at me in the comments that I haven't watched it, but the reason is not because I don't think Spaceballs will be good, it's just because it reminds me of Star Wars, and honestly, I just don't feel anything towards it. I'm hoping if I abstain from it for like a while, that maybe eventually I'll be able to go back to some of the good things like the original trilogy and stuff like that, and actually feel something. It's not happening right now because whenever I look back at it, all I see is Luke drinking green milk and knowing how everything that happened was for nothing because people in charge of Lucasfilm decided that it was better to change everything rather than just make something new, but now are also saying they're going to go away from George Lucas's Star Wars and make something new, which you could have just done from the beginning. Just saying.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say? I watched some of Star Wars Rebels. I didn't find it terrible. I didn't find it good either. This is apparently going to be like a live-action Rebels, and they're bringing in Thrawn, who looks like Elon Musk.
But blue, which is hilarious.
What? You're calling it Heir to the Empire? Like, the books are better? Like, what do you want me to say? Like, there's nothing that I really care about here. I just look at this and go, of course they're making her apprentice to Ahsoka. Of course they're doing this. And, again, keep in mind, the show will probably do very well.
Yeah, probably. I still can't get over the headtails, though. And let's not forget, as I mentioned earlier, Sabine has no force power.
Well, now she can, because reasons. Whatever.
Ugh.
Regardless, this is a fan favorite character. People will watch, and Rosario Dawson is a decent actress, and she will do a good job. But, again, it's just not something that interests me. It's not something that interests a lot of people anymore, and it's just how it's become. When apathy sets in, it's really hard to bring back people, and that's what the biggest problem is. Andor is a good example. It did really well. People really liked it. However, it didn't have the viewing numbers because nobody was watching it. Even if you make good Star Wars content now, it's too little, too late.
Indeed. And please let me say one more thing about the headtails. Live action Shakti had the full-length ones. Why can't you give it to Ahsoka?
Because budget.
Ugh, it bothers me so much.
Notice again how it bothers Raven more about the headtails than the fact that this is happening in Star Wars. It's because she doesn't actually care about it anymore.
I mean, I like the character of Ahsoka, don't get me wrong. She's one of my favorite characters in all of Star Wars. But I cannot get over the fact that I do not like her in live action.
But also, see how annoyed you get about that and not about Sabine? Because it's just like, who cares?
Exactly. All I can say is, she has no force power. Just because she's wielding the Darksaber does not automatically make her a Jedi apprentice. The end.
And with that, we can move on.
Indeed. To Alita Battle Angel.
I deserve multiple sequels!
Yes. I still need to watch the first one, though.
James Cameron has seemingly confirmed that audiences can expect multiple sequels to the movie Alita Battle Angel.
Which I have been told is a very good movie.
Now, it's not perfect. I have seen the movie.
I have not.
It's not perfect, obviously. Things that are usually adapted to live action, especially from anime or manga, is usually not perfect. But this is probably as close as we're going to get.
Yeah. And the fact that that Elita was the only character that had actual anime face, while it may have been in the Uncanny Valley, actually worked for it only being the robot.
Also, this did well, and unfortunately the problem was it came out at the same time as Captain Marvel, and instead of celebrating that we had two female leads, it became a contest.
Unfortunately, I enjoyed Captain Marvel when it came out, as I've said before, but now looking back, I'm kind of regretting not seeing Elita when I had the chance.
We'll have to see it at some point. It's good. It's worth watching. It's actually got stakes. It's got action. It's got all that good stuff. And again, as I said, it's not perfect. It's definitely not. But if we're going to get live-action anime adaptations, this is how you do it. Now, they could very well stumble and make it worse, and it's very possible. But for now, I'm not opposed to this idea. Give us more.
Sure.
That's all I have to say. I'm glad to hear it's not being thrown aside. I'm glad to hear it's getting more attention. I don't know when it will come out, given the fact of, Avatar and all the avatars we're going to be getting and how long they're going to be pushed out for. But we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully this comes sooner rather than later.
Indeed. Moving on. To Willy Wonka.
I could have just sold chocolate laced with crack.
Yeah, pretty much.
Timothée Chalamet is taking viewers to a world of pure imagination in the official trailer for Wonka, starring Chalamet as an eccentric chocolatier created by renowned author Roald Dahl.
And the trailer is exactly as you'd expect. Plenty of diversity, weirdness, excitement, and dullness.
And he's gonna apparently go up against the chocolate cartel?
I'm still trying to wrap my head around the idea of a chocolate cartel. I mean, what the heck?
I think it could be executed kind of well. We'll have to see how it does. But do we really need another Wonka movie?
No.
Honestly, he would be a better casting as the Doctor.
Oh my god, you're right. He does kind of look like Tom Baker.
No, but he would be a good casting because he's got that manic energy. But the trailer wasn't something too crazy. It's coming out not too long from now. I don't know how it will do. I don't really have an opinion on it. The reason we're talking about it is because it reminds me of the original Willy Wonka, which, of course, I watched and was good, and the books were good as well.
I used to be terrified of the original Willy Wonka movie just because of the Oompa Loompas. Not the boat tunnel scene, which everyone else is scared of. It was the Oompa Loompas that scared me with their little orange faces.
Oompa Loompa Doopa-dee-doo.
Seriously, I love the boat tunnel scene, as no one will be surprised by.
What can I say here? It doesn't look like awful, but it doesn't really move the needle for me either. I think what I said was it reminds me of Fantastic Beasts combined with Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. Mm-hmm. And again, this could be very good. I don't know, but I'm not like jumping up and down seeing this. It's just kind of like, okay, you're there. Now what?
I'm still trying to think. Chocolate cartel? What does that even mean?
I don't know. Again, if this is executed well, it could do well. If not, like, it's just going to be another entry. Like, do we really need this?
No, not at all. And so we move on to our last client of the day, the strikes.
More money, less personality.
I support the current thing. Hi, Mom!
The writer's strike has been going on for a little while now. But in solidarity with the writers, the actors have decided to now strike as well.
Why?
Am I supposed to care?
Apparently, I certainly don't.
You can't promote things? You can't do press junkets and say stupid things? Or go online and insult people or whatever?
Or do any side projects involving acting? Well, the writers are able to write books on the side.
And how long is this supposed to be for?
Until they apparently get what they want, which is more money. But as I have said before, if you do your job well, you will be paid well. It's simple common sense.
There are plenty of people who are part of this, who are writers or actors who do well and deserve to be paid more and are unfairly treated. But for the most part, a lot of them become lazy and want to be able to control who's on the movie or how the movie goes, whatever. And that's not how this works. If you want to be able to afford things for your family or whatever, fine. But maybe instead of trying to strike, because this isn't going to get you money, it's not going to get you what you want, maybe instead you should find a side job.
Yeah. So something else we have heard regarding this is that the higher-ups are actually waiting for these people to use up all the money that they do have before they get their next paycheck. They actually want them to go homeless and bankrupt.
Hollywood people are Hollywood people? Wow.
You don't say.
Just doesn't really make me upset or anything. Again, I feel for the people who don't deserve this, but these people have made it very clear that they don't actually care about what they're making, and that's the reason they're not making money, in my opinion.
Oh no, I agree, especially with their poor writing skills. No matter how bad a movie is, you can always say it's a terrible movie, but it always comes down to the script. If the script is bad, the movie will be bad.
That's true. It also could depend on the actors, because if you have a bad actor in a great role with a great script, it could still come off not well.
True, but it's usually the writing that sucks.
I agree. We'll have to wait and see how long this goes on for. It's interesting. It's definitely going to be making some news a little bit less common. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But if you want me to cry about it, I'm not. If you want me to say that I feel for the people who don't deserve this, absolutely. Do I care about the others? Not really.
Same. Hence why I'm not a part of this guild.
But we are part of Epicverse, which you should check out. We just had a spoiler little preview thing premiere on Friday Night Tights if you want to go see it. The last one with Josiah Rises.
At the 1 hour 53-minute mark.
Yeah, so if you want to see that, you can.
Indeed. But we move on. And with that being our last client of the day, it is time for us to reveal the diagnosis of the week.
And we have an interesting diagnosis for you today.
Do tell.
So the diagnosis for this week is tangential speech.
Please explain.
Tangential speech is a communication disorder which train of thought of the speaker kind of wanders and basically doesn't return to initial topics. Basically, it's usually commonly found in people who have schizophrenia or some kind of delirium, but it's basically people who, you ask them something and they will respond with something completely not related. Why am I bringing this up? Because this is Hollywood in a nutshell right now. Why? Because when you ask them about the plot of a movie or whatever, what do you get? We have the first person of color that does this. We have the first this that does that. It's almost like they're not even related to it. And they know it's not related, but that's the selling point now. It's never the actual plot like it used to be. It's now, we have this diversity, we have this person, we have this, that. And that's why I think that, honestly, if we were going to classify the marketing strategy of Hollywood right now, tangential speech is pretty much spot on. And we see it so often. And that's why I feel this is a great diagnosis for this week.
I agree.
And now we move on to the remedy of the week.
And this week we are sending you to George the Giant Slayer. He may be bigger than us, but we thought we'd shout him out anyway because we got to meet him in Vegas and he's apparently very nice.
Yeah, we did get to meet him in Vegas. He's a very nice guy. He also always makes sure to credit me for my work on compilations and stuff like that, and I appreciate that a lot.
And gets mad at the people who don't.
Again, people are allowed to not, but, I do notice. He's a great guy. Again, way bigger than us by a long shot.
Yeah.
So we're not expecting that we're going to send a giant wave of subscribers over there. But we did want to shout him out and give him credit for what he does. He does make some great content, and he's a nice guy. And we know that firsthand, as we said, because we did meet him.
Yes. So grab your swords, head on over there, and let him know that Gothic Therapy referred you.
Indeed. But that is all we have for this week. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and also make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe with notifications on so you do not miss your weekly therapy session.
Or you will be charged. But remember, when you do subscribe, your first session is free, so smash those buttons like they're bad kitties. And do consider joining us at the dusk, midnight, or dawn level. We would appreciate it quite a lot. You can also find links to all of our socials in the description below, as well as links to our merch store and our Discord server known as The Clinic. Be sure to check them out. And if you don't want to stick with us here on YouTube, you can also find us on Rumble and Odyssey. And make sure to keep an eye out for our upcoming live show, Watching Birds.
We will have that more information on that coming soon, where we had to push it back a bit, but we will be getting to it. It will be a thing. But yeah, that's all we have for this week, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Gothic Therapy, out.